What a story this is. The suspected Golden State Killer was back in a courtroom today. A judge ruled that prosecutors can collect DNA and fingerprints from Joseph DeAngelo, who is believed to be behind at least a dozen killings and more than 50 rapes during the 70s and 80s. So just last week, after decades on the run, he was tracked down in part by detectives who used genealogy websites like Ancestry and 23andMe. They don't know exactly which one it was, but it has a lot of people wondering what exactly you give up when you spit and send your DNA to those sites. It's something to think about. America, we'll talk more about that another night. But my next guest is retired Exeter, California Police Sergeant FARREL Ward. He worked side by side along the alleged serial killer for 3 years. FARREL, welcome. Good to have you here tonight, sir. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
I just can't even imagine. I read about how you spent a lot of time side by side. You never suspected him of anything like this. What was it like when you saw his picture and realized how close you had been to him all those years?
I was devastated. I just couldn't believe that one of our guys could do something like that.
Tell me what he was like. What he is like.
Pardon me?
Tell me what he's like and what he was like then that led you to not suspect anything at all.
Well, he was a nice guy, but he's just off kind of by himself, like he was educated person, but he didn't have no common sense. He didn't like to joke around, play around, or anything. He just kind of standoffish type guy.
So you say that, you know, he was around you, he was in your house, around your family. What is it like when you hear about these murders and these rapes and you realize that it could have happened to any one of you?
Yes, very much could. I had him in my house. We drank tea. He's even had dinner with me, because when we work together, if the person lives out of town, then I usually invite him to my house, because my wife cooked every night, and I would have one of the guys come have dinner with me at nighttime. So I had my wife and my daughter there, and never thought for a moment that something like this would happen.
Is there anything looking back, FARREL, that you think about when you think about things that he said or did that maybe shed some light on what was going on?
There was nothing. I couldn't believe it when I saw him on TV, but there was no indication whatsoever that this guy had any dark side to him whatsoever. And he was just another policeman, just like any of the other guys.
During that period, did you talk about this killer that was on the loose with him?
Well, yeah, we talked about the killing in Visalia, where he killed the college professor. He tried to kidnap his 14-year-old daughter, and the father came into the room to help his daughter, and he was shot dead right there in front of his daughter.
And you talked to him about that crime at the time?
Yes.
And what was his reaction to it?
Not just him, but they just didn't know who the sick guy was that would do something like that, just like the other policemen that we talked about, different things. And Visalia PD, they investigated it, the incident, and then the next week, Visalia Police Department put guys in different neighborhoods. The police officers dropped them off in different parts of the city. And that night, there was a policeman that found him in the backyard, and they teach us in our training to hold your flashlight away from your body. Mm-hmm. So he was holding out his flashlight, and this guy shot directly into his flashlight and just blew it all apart. And luckily that didn't kill the police officer. And this guy just jumped directly over the fence, 6-foot fence, and he disappeared. And at the time, I was a K-9. I was a K-9 officer. So basically, the police called me out to help search the residential area and the backyards. And we couldn't locate the guy anywhere. He was gone.
Oh, my gosh. It's chilling. Farrell Ward, thank you very much, sir. Thanks for sharing your story. We're glad he's finally in custody. It's an amazing story you tell. Thank you, sir.